Commission meeting to order. November 18th. You would please rise for the invitation, followed by the pledge. Thank you, Pastor Greg, for being here.
Yes, sir. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this wonderful day that you have created for us. Father, we thank you for your many blessings. There's so many things that we take for granted. And so, Father, not just this time of year, but we pray that every day you would just help us to give you thanks and glory. Father, we acknowledge that your word says that all good things come from above, and we praise you for that. Father, we ask that you would just bless the city of Mulberry. We thank you for all the great things that are taking place. We thank you for the great people that you have placed in different roles of leadership. Father, we pray for this meeting tonight. We pray that it would benefit our city. We pray for these commissioners. We ask that you would give them just wisdom and guidance. We pray that you would help them as they make decisions for us. We thank you and praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Roll call, Madam City Clerk.
Commissioner Anderson. Here. Commissioner Barsadi. Here. Commissioner Devine.
Here.
Commissioner McDonald. Here. Commissioner Smith. Here. Mayor Hatch.
Here.
City Manager Johnson. And Assistant Attorney Crawford.
Present.
First on the agenda is the minutes of our last meeting on November the 4th. What's the pleasure of commissioners? So your second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Barsadi. Motion was made by Mr. Smith. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It's passed. Finance Department is up. And Mr. Christie's coming down.
Christy Childs, Deputy Finance Director. We do not have anything for this meeting. All of our business was handled in the CRA meeting.
Thank you. Planning, Mr. Vaughn, Mr. Vaughn's not here. So we'll go to utility. Mr. John. Come on back.
John Wright, utility director. Let's see what we have.
Change your hats. There you go. Back up.
Well, we did have something planned tonight, but I don't know when our pictures are at. I mean,
There's pictures in the packet.
it's like Polo Works, and it's mainly Polo Works. They put all these Christmas lights downtown, that's the Polo backup part.
You want to borrow my packet, John?
I got a wing of it, so. So we put the Christmas decorations up still beginning this week, probably up until Thanksgiving next week. And, I have the total work orders that we did was 175, and this is just pretty typical. The locates we did 74, the back close we did 7, and the total was 256. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Oh, Mr. John, I have a question, a random question. The water smelled like a lot of bleach. Was there any change?
I
or-
tried to actually put those questions.
No additional charge. The bleach.
The water smelled someday, a couple of times, like a lot of chlorine in it. Was there anything going on?
We'll swing by, check you'll see us up there if you want to flush on the end of 12 hours. We'll come by tomorrow and check it. I believe we have 4 corners of water. Believe it or not, people in Anchor Screening low of 4 corners.
Catherine? Outreach and engagement.
Hello. Catherine Page, Studio 37. Spooky season is over and we are in the season of gratitude, but this will be a look back at our October happenings. So, in October 2025, Studio 37 had 57 sessions of programming, 476 attendees at those programs. We participated in City Government Week. We hosted Trunk or Treat at the Harvest Festival, and we were invited to do an outreach event at English Green. To celebrate our spooky season, one of the crafty events we did were these macrame ghosts that were a lot of fun. We also hosted an instructional series of mahjong. If you are familiar with the Chinese tile game, it's a lot of strategy. It's actually really hard, but our ladies caught on to it, and we had a 4-week series. So now we have open play mahjong on Fridays at 10. If you guys know how to play mahjong already, or you want some tips or tricks, join us at 10 on Fridays. We also had a pumpkin door hanger workshop. They all turned out very cute. When public schools are out or there's an early release, we try to do a kids event to sort of entertain them. So on the 13th, it was it no school that day? Yes, no school on the 13th. Yes, for Columbus Day. So we had a kids drop in Halloween craft, and they got to paint all kinds of fun things. The adorable children there. And then our usual on early release days, we have extra credit crafts. You can see things got a little messy, but it's always a lot of fun. We did bubble cauldrons with bubble solution and paint. And then here's a recap of Florida City Week. Just to remind everyone, that was Janie, myself, and Jen that were on the committee. So this is not just for me, this is everything that we did. So here's our recap. We started City Government Week or City Week with a social media campaign that highlighted all of our, what's that? With all of our elected officials and all of our city departments. We hosted the MHS Civics Academy video contest. If you guys were at the 2 commission meetings ago, I believe it was, we got to see June Honifers. She made a wonderful video. We also made a comprehensive booklet where you could dive deeper into each department. I think all the commissioners got a copy of that, and then if you participated in our Civics Academy, you also got one of those.
That was very nice.
It was, yeah.
Very nice.
Absolutely. And then if you'll remember, we had our City Week reception celebrating City Week and all that our city does for us right before our regularly scheduled commission meeting. We had a good turnout, obviously. I think all of you were there. We had our Citizens Academy, so that was brand new for us. We offered citizens a chance to go behind the scenes to see how your city government works for you. So here you can see them visiting with Ron, with planning and development, and then the next one I think they're with Jerry, John, Jen. We did a little chair yoga at the studio. Chelsea talked to them at the Cultural Center and the museum. Then they got to meet with city manager over at Depot 303 to talk about the CRA, how that works. They stopped by the library, and then after lunch, they went over to the gym.
How many people did you have participate in that?
So in that one, we had 5 people.
Okay.
Hopefully next year, if we do the same project, we will make some adjustments. We have some good ideas already. We've had a sort of postmortem about City Week, and we're excited to have some new things for next year too. And then sort of closing out the week, several of our commissioners did some readings with Purcell Elementary and Willow Oak School. So thank you to all of our commissioners, thank you to all of our department heads, all of our city employees who played a part in doing City Government Week. It's a lot of work, and we couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you guys so much and for your participation. Like I said, Studio 37 got invited to join Anglers Green Health and Wellness Fair. We went last year, and we're excited to be invited back this year. So we got to talk about the city, what's going on with the city and the studio, to meet lots of new faces. Another recap for Trunk or Treat. I know Chelsea talked a little bit about that last time. It was a well-attended event, as it always is. At our count, at our trunk-or-treat check-in line, we counted a little over 1,300 people. Obviously, that doesn't count anybody that did not come through the trunk-or-treat line, anyone without kids or, didn't want their kids to have the candy. So the estimated attendance is likely higher than that. But a little over 1,300 counted with 24 different zip codes. So we're pulling in a lot of people, but happy to say that the majority was in the 33860 area code. So we are serving our community while still pulling in people from our surrounding areas. A couple pictures from our trunk or treat. Thank you to all of our trunk or treat participants. They always go all out. Greater Hope always brings several trunks. We appreciate everyone who did. Here's a couple of our prize winners. Our third place did a great Pokemon. I think it was their first time doing trunk or treat with us. Second place was kind of a multi-award because they had a Lord of the Rings, but it was like 3 different cards all together to make a big tableau, if you will. So they got second place as a group. And then first place went to this family here who did our Finding Nemo, and I think it was also their first time participating in our trunk or treat, and they really went all out on that. So we had a really, really good time. And I think that is it, unless you guys have any questions for me.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Chamber of Commerce, I'm all in. Clark.
Mr. Mayor, City Commissioners, I'm Clark Freed, a member of the Board of the Chamber of Commerce, just to give you the update for this month. Current membership sits at 140 for membership. Our newest member is a Martin Electrical Solutions. We held a new member reception in late October with 13 new members participating in that new member reception. We also in late October held a mixer for the chamber membership that was held at Lakeland Hill. We had a nice turnout for that. Our next mixer will be in February, sponsored by our very own Neil Devine.
I think it's January, actually.
January.
Gotta get with Kathy Shalhoub.
I'm going to have to make that correction. Thank you, Neil. I appreciate it. Our November breakfast is tomorrow morning. I can't recommend this strong enough. Mosaic is our sponsor, and our county manager, Bill Beasley, will be the speaker. Always brings in a good crowd to hear the update from Bill Beasley. Catering will be done by Dina's, and we will have a special collection at the breakfast tomorrow to support the food by the Community Service Center. Some upcoming events: we've got the chamber will be participating in the cookie stroll on December the 5th. We will be providing the judging for the Christmas parade on December the 13th. Our Business of the Year nominations have gone out, and we're looking forward to getting some good nominations back. And at our annual dinner in February, we will announce those Business of the Year award winners. Looking into next year, bringing back our clay shoot. Looking forward to that. April 10th, 2026 at Tenorock, we'll be doing that clay shoot. One thing that is continued to be in progress, our website is needs a lot of work. We hired a new contractor to handle our website, and we're going to be doing some significant upgrades to our website. That will be coming soon. We all look forward to the December breakfast with all the festivities of the holidays. The Mulberry High School Choir will be singing at our December breakfast on the 10th of December, and ACT will be our sponsor that day. Any questions for me? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I'm writing, hold on 1 second. Because you gotta remember that December breakfast is the second Wednesday, isn't it?
Yes, it's the second Wednesday. It's
It's
not
early.
our third Wednesday.
That's why I missed it last year.
Because of school calendars
School getting
and all
out,
things
yeah.
going on, in late December, we moved that up to the second Wednesday. Apologize for those that have that on the regular third
Yeah.
Wednesday. Yes, it's the 10th of December. Thank you very
I
much.
got it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's see. Neil, you're up.
All right, count up, yes, sir. Ridge League Cities report. So the city of Mulberry had the opportunity to host the Ridge League of Cities Board of Directors meeting this last Thursday. It's a gem in our downtown Mulberry district, pun intended. I'm proud of that building, as we all should be proud of it and want to show it off. Seeing the opportunity, I jumped on it. Bobby Green said yes. So at that meeting, they had Casey Cook on conference, and he's active in the Florida League of Cities advocacy department. As we know, the electeds in Tallahassee think they know what's best for municipalities across the state of Florida, but they really don't. They attack CRAs. They attack them again this year. They are currently attacking property taxes. People say, okay, that's great. Let's attack property taxes. Well, let's think about what those property taxes fund. Government. The property tax system ensures reliable public services like public safety, clean water, even though it tasted like too much chlorine, John, or smelled like chlorine, parks and roads. Property tax system was created by homeowners and approved by the voters. Approved by the voters. Created by the homeowners. I want to camp there for a minute. The people in Tallahassee who we elect, yeah, they might be homeowners and they might be voters, but we, the people, are the voters. We, the people, do not see an issue with the current property tax structure. But we, the elected in Tallahassee, do. They're spent here in Mulberry. How do we spend the tax dollars in Mulberry? Studio 37, Depot 303, the Gem Theater. That's CRA funded, don't want to get in the weeds on that. But it's funded through the city of Mulberry. Roads, public safety, quality of life. All of this is funded with our tax dollars. Moving these dollars and decisions to Tallahassee means giving control to distant lawmakers and bureaucrats who don't know our community's needs. And I've said it many times. They don't know what Mulberry needs. They don't know what Polk County needs. We're just a pass-through. And let's think about this. Polk County, Central Florida. It was 45 minutes, and now it's an hour and a half to Tampa and Orlando. Tourist destinations. People come and spend their tourist dollars in Hillsborough County, Orange County, maybe some in Polk County. Think about this. Do you think that the bureaucrats in Tallahassee could possibly redirect that money taken from our property taxes? I just was going somewhere, I forgot where it was, but that's all right. And fund more infrastructure in the tourist destinations. Could possibly happen, we don't know. Our city's worked hard to keep property taxes low every year. City manager announces that the millage rate has been lowered. We, meaning elected officials who entrust professional staff, make smart budget decisions to deliver services efficiently, helping keep our costs as low as possible. Thursday, 9 a.m., the bills. House Select Committee on Property Tax will consider 8 bills that propose changes to the Florida property tax structure. I encourage everyone to call your electeds in Tallahassee and tell them to vote no for changing the property tax structure. You know, I'm glad we don't have a timer right now because it'll be more than 5 minutes. House Judicial Review, right, HJR? 201, Joint resolution, okay, House Joint Resolution. 201, eliminates non-school homestead property taxes outright. If approved, homeowners would no longer pay city, county, non-school levies on their primary residence. Financial impact, 18.3 billion with a B annually. HJR 203 phases out non-school homestead properties over 10 years by adding new $100,000 extension each year to the homeowner's non-school tax base. Physical impact, 13.3B with a billion. HJR 205 exempts Florida residents over 65 from paying non-school homestead property taxes. This will be an annual recurring negative physical impact on $6.7 billion. And being an employee who works for the Polk County Public School System, the state is forever cutting budgets left and right to public education. And that hurts the employees who live in Mulberry, who call Mulberry home, who work in Mulberry. It doesn't affect the elected bureaucrats in Tallahassee. HJR 207 creates a new homestead exemption for non-school taxes equal to 25%. Reoccurring negative physical impact, $4.6 billion with a B. Expanded benefits. HJR 211. Portability, Save Our Homes benefits. Reoccurring negative physical impact of $337 million. It's a lot of money when you're looking at this. Granted, it's the entire state of Florida. Mulberry is one of 67 or 8 counties. Polk is one of 67 or 8 counties in the state. HJR 213 slows the growth in assessed value of non-school homestead property taxes to 3% over 3 years. Currently, it's 10% per year. That physical impact has yet to be scored. You know, I've spoken many times about home rule. Every year, the elected in Tallahassee are taking away our rule to govern our city, our municipality, our county, the way we feel is best for our people. It's got to stop. Okay. That's about it there on that. So Casey Cook prepared a data pack for Mulberry, which is great. And 1 mil, what's it equal to? What, $250? $100,000?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Millage rate for the school board.
The school district?
Yeah.
The millage rate for the school board, the average taxable value, I think last year was around 81 billion in the county for school board purposes. So a mill raises roughly 80 to 81 million. 95% of that, which is what gets paid over, is about 77 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going through this package. The millage rate breakdown for fiscal year 2024. County, 35.84 cents. 35 cents per dollar. County. School, 28 cents. Special districts, 1 penny. Municipality, 34.52 cents. So 34 cents of your dollar is reinvested back in where we call home, Mulberry. Public safety expenditures for fiscal year 2019 through 2023. I'm not going to bore you with that data. I'll just go back to 2023. It's just under $1.4 million for the ad valorem revenue. Law enforcement expenditure alone was about $1.3 $3 million in Mulberry. Correct me if I'm wrong, that's right?
Pretty close.
Okay. So these are factual numbers, data they pulled. We've got to just let the people in Tallahassee say enough is enough. We need to take back our city. With that, that concludes my report about the Florida League of Cities. I'm sure City Clerk will mention about the upcoming Ridge League of Cities meeting on her report. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Attorney, we've got 4 ordinances
Yes, we
here
do.
on the agenda.
Yes, we do, Mayor. If I can have a couple minutes ahead of time before we begin with the ordinance readings. Mayor, Commissioners, this is the package of development ordinances that we've been discussing over the last couple of months. I did want to make sure you all know ahead of time and in advance that these were all recommended to you for approval by your Planning and Zoning Board unanimously. And so we can proceed forward with them and have first reading tonight. So, Mayor, the first item of formal business tonight on the dais is ordinance number ORD 2025-09, an ordinance of the City of Mulberry, Florida relating to municipal approval of plats and replats of land, implementing section 177.071 Florida statutes 2025, creating section 7050103 and amending section 70502, 7050501, 7050502, 7050601, 7050602, 7050603, and 7050701 of the Unified Land Development Code of the City of Mulberry, Florida, providing for designation of an administrative official to receive, review, and process submittals for final plat and replat approval, modifying and articulating requirements for performance security, modifying and articulating requirements for final plat application and approval, standards for review, procedures, and timeframes, and in effect, excuse me, let me start that one over. Modifying and articulating requirements for final plat application and approval, standards for review, procedures, timeframes, and effects of administrative action, harmonizing related provisions of the Unified Land Development Code of the City of Mulberry, providing for codification of the Unified Land Development Code of the City of Mulberry, Florida, providing for implementation. This item is on for first reading tonight.
Are you gonna explain that?
I can. This is, if you'll recall, we adopted a resolution implementing this a while back. This is the changing over of plats so that your plat officer, essentially your city manager or his designee, that'll turn out to be your planner most likely, can approve final plat documents without having to come before you. We told you at that time you adopted the resolution, this would come back before you in an ordinance. Here it is. And so this ordinance does a couple of things. Changes the process in your ordinance book so that the planner, city manager, or his designee is the person who approves plats for the city. It also says that that person has authority to accept performance security. Now, what do I mean by that? That's when a developer comes up and says, I haven't built out my infrastructure yet, but I want my final plat so I can start selling lots. And what they typically do is they'll give you an engineer's report. They'll say the value of the improvements is so many $1 million. And so you post a security with the city so that the city has a bond, so that you know that if the developer fails to build those public improvements, you have a source of funds to do it yourself, right? We've done that before with ordinance. And so this allows that administrative officer to accept that security and to release that security whenever it's ready. So that doesn't have to come back before you. And then there are also various different provisions in the code where it talks about the city commission approving something on plat review that now will be the administrative authority.
What's the pleasure, Commissioners?
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Devine, second by Commissioner Barsadi. Is there anybody in the audience wishes to speak to this? Don't know enough about it, but you can ask questions.
It's designed to make development quicker.
Yeah.
So that's the idea.
Are we ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Just passed.
One other comment I would say, Mayor, on that, it's also a mandate by the Florida legislature.
I was gonna say,
Not
yeah.
this. That's right. These are all these all relate to the House and Senate bills we've looked at since August. Thank you, Mayor. The next item of formal business on the dais tonight is ordinance number ORD 2025-10. An ordinance of the City of Mulberry, Florida relating to mandatory structural inspections for condominium and cooperative buildings, implementing subsection 553.88911 Florida Statutes 2025, creating section 6.7 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Mulberry, Florida, requiring condominiums, cooperative associations, and owners subject to mandatory structural inspections to schedule and commence repairs for substantial structural deterioration within 365 days after the city's receipt of a phase 2 inspection report, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for complication, administrative correction of scrivener's errors, providing for an effective date. Mayor, this item is on for first reading tonight.
And we need this because?
This is another mandate requirement of the Florida legislature. This really follows up on Surfside. So the condominium collapse in Surfside. There aren't many, in fact, I'm not aware of a condominium in Mulberry that's subject to mandatory inspections. Even if there are units that are subject to the condominium form of ownership, you have to be 3 stories high or higher for this to apply. However, the law says we must adopt this by January 1, so therefore we go forth and adopt it.
So it's just Tallahassee strong arming us because they don't know what's in Mulberry, just saying.
Well, I think they want to do a statewide rule on this. Yeah, and the idea is that if a phase 2 inspection report, and by the time you get to a phase 2, that means that a building inspector or an independent inspector has seen a deterioration in the structural components. So by the time you get there, you have to essentially start your substantial structural repairs within 365 days. So you can't wait and wait for another Surfside to happen.
Yep.
That's the gist of the bill, Mayor.
What's the pleasure, Commissioner?
Motion.
All right, I got
Second.
Commissioner Smith and Commissioner McDonald. Is there anyone else out there that wishes to speak to this one? We're ready to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It's passed.
Thank you, Mayor. The third item of formal business of the day tonight is ordinance number ORD 2025-11. An ordinance of the City of Mulberry, Florida relating to certified recovery residences, implementing subsection 397.48715 Florida Statutes 2025, amending section 20202 of the Unified Land Development Code of the City of Mulberry, Florida, to clarify that special needs facilities may be certified, licensed, or registered by the state of Florida, creating section 2020201 of the Unified Land Development Code of the City of Mulberry, Florida, providing procedures for handling and processing requests for accommodation in the city's Land Development Code, providing for codification in the Unified Land Development Code of the City of Mulberry, Florida, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, providing for an effective date. Mayor, this item is on for first reading tonight.
Can I ask why I'm bringing this before the commission?
Yes, if I may, I'll explain. Your code right now permits group homes to be established upon a certain application, right? Group homes under 4 can be established in a single family neighborhood. Group homes 5 or larger have to be in a more of a commercial setting, right? What this law is designed to do, again, this is to comply with the statutory requirement from Tallahassee, right? In the wake of the opioid crisis in South Florida, there were a number of recovery residences, which are sort of halfway homes between inpatient, secure, sober recovery centers and outpatient freedom. This is kind of a halfway provision there. But also, sober recovery residences also provide a place for someone to stay while they're undergoing intensive outpatient treatment at a facility. Right.
Sober recovery.
And that came up at the Planning and Zoning Board. It's both drugs and alcohol, and it's designed to allow a place. The way this works, the Department of Health a recovery house can seek voluntary certification from the state. If they do so, they have to be run by a certified recovery residence manager. And so there's a system in place to help regulate these types of homes, types of recovery places. In our code, we allow for group homes, and this is essentially a group home. What we don't have in our code, though, we say that a special needs facility, because that's what this would be, has to be either licensed or registered by the state. We don't have the keyword certified. So we're adding the keyword certified in place because we have to do that to make sure there's a process for these homes to get approval. And the next thing is if there's some need under the Americans with Disabilities Act, there needs to be a way for them to apply for an exemption from the code. So that's what this is about.
We're doing this because the law has changed in Tallahassee.
It has. You're required to adopt this by January 1. That's right.
What's your pleasure, commissioners?
Second,
Who seconded?
Don McDonald.
Don? Motion made by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner McDonald, that this be approved on first reading. Anybody out there wish to speak to this? Twice, 3 times sold. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passed.
Thank you, Mayor. And the last item of formal business on the dais tonight is ordinance number ORD 2025-12, an ordinance of the city of Mulberry, Florida relating to local government land regulation, implementing subsection 1660331 of the Florida Statutes 2025, creating section 80103 of the Unified Land Development Code of the city of Mulberry, Florida, requiring the city to specify minimum information in writing that must be submitted with certain applications for land development approval, providing for codification in the Unified Land Development Code of the city of Mulberry, Florida, providing for an effective date.
And this one does what?
So, Mayor, this one is also designed to comply with the bill in Tallahassee.
I figured that.
And this actually is for our benefit. So the legislature in 2025, or the 2025 legislature changed the law to say that we have to provide certain information to developers about what must be in an application within 5 days that they're asking. And we also must make a statement, we have to publish it, we have to hand it out at pre-application meetings, things like that. What they didn't do, and the best way to identify is to look at the first page of Exhibit A, so this is 75 of your agenda. They did not define the terms of the concepts that they said. So they say zoning approval, rezoning approval, subdivision approval, certification, special exception, and variance. That's all they did. What we've done in this ordinance, and we recommend this as a best practice across our municipalities, is to go through the land development code, identify what those items are, what those applications are, what we actually have to give out. For example, the phrase subdivision approval in Mulberry under this ordinance would mean any recommendation or decision regarding a concept plan review, because that's what we do. A preliminary subdivision plat, which still has to come before certain reviews, or a final subdivision plat. What's missing out of here is that middle stage for building permit issuance, to build a road, to put in a pipe, to put, things of that nature, because that's not something that would be an approval, so to say, under the terms of the ordinance. You don't file an application for that. You do, but it's not something that what they're intending, if that makes sense. So we picked out everything that needed to go in here, spelled it all out, and then if you look on the next page, there's an instruction to the city manager to prepare a minimum information statement. It's as easy as going to the code of ordinances and picking out what needs to be in the application. So anytime it needs to be updated, we update it. That's just the ordinance there.
Thank you. What's the pleasure, Commissioner?
Second,
Mr. McDonald were right on top of that. Thank you. Anybody in the audience wish to speak to this one? Commissioners, any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passed. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And I appreciate the, everyone's attention on that. I know that those items are fun, but this will put us in full compliance by January 1, which is great. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is discussion of hiring a new city manager, darn it. Because our city manager is gonna leave us as of February the 6th. And, I will tell you, is Jamie here?
She's in her office.
Never mind. She and I went with the lawyer and have interviewed a couple of, what would you call them, professional management hunters. And, they both presented well, I will say that. And, I do like the second one we talked to a little bit better because his timeline was a little quicker. first one, his timeline was really drug out. And I assume there's reasons for that, but, in his defense. But I'm just gonna stop right there and see if any of you have any input into how you would like to proceed.
I have a suggestion.
Go ahead.
Well, because we're a city of under 10,000, we qualify at no charge for a senior advisor, of the chapter under ICMA. And being that we have a lot of things going on, like we have an election coming up for 3 of our commissioners, we don't know what's gonna be happening with property taxes, so that might be a burden for the new city manager coming in. We can get some free direction, and he can even be an interim for up to a year at there's supposed to be no charge for most of this. But he could step in and advise us and spend some time so we don't have to make any rash decisions, and these are professionals with over 10 years of experience, decades of experience. They do this, they retire and we just do it as a help to the community now.
Thank you.
Now, I've said it 2 weeks ago and I'll say it again today. Institutional knowledge is very important. City manager has built structure around this city, support staff who support him. Everything rises and falls upon leadership. In my opinion, Rick is a great leader. He's found people to fill positions who he trusted and he invested in them. Why do we need to spend the money to go out for executive search committee if we've got somebody who is willing to step into the role with just Rick's guidance?
Well, Rick's guidance before or after?
Well, the thing is,
We're just discussing right now.
we're required by law to advertise the position, are we not, Mr. Lawyer?
So the concern there is that I would want the position to be advertised. I think even if you have internal candidates, you want the position to be advertised. There are there's a lot of legal issues that would be satisfied through that. So that's certainly my advice to everybody, that you conduct an open search. Kind of following up on what you mentioned, Mayor, it is our recommendation as council that you use a search organization to do that. And we have contacts with all the search organizations in Florida that do this sort of work. I know that I've been able and been privileged to introduce you to 2 of the major ones, probably the 2 who I would recommend the most, mainly so I can familiarize at least you on the commission with sort of what services are out there and what's needed, so that way we can have this discussion today. I would say, Commissioner McDonald, that a search can be completed within the 60-day window, and so you could be in a position where you have a candidate that meets your needs using a firm like that.
If we went, there would be no harm in using a senior advisor at first, plus we can write out specifically, he can help us figure out what we are actually looking for, because it's not very specific. Then you're just gonna get maybe somebody from north that doesn't have hurricane experience. There's specific, you might have somebody without the financial background that we need them to have. So at least they can help us write out those clear ideas of what we're looking for in the search. Otherwise, we're just gonna gather a bunch of applications, and here I gave you 100 applications, and that's it if we hire a firm. So
I'm going back.
Their services are much more tailored than that.
I think so too, yeah. They're a lot more.
But we need to know what we're asking for
Well,
specifically.
they're gonna come to us and ask us that.
Let's go back 12 years when, in Coach's words, we hired the new city manager. Correct me if I'm wrong. You had no experience as city manager, Rick, other than just your service as city commissioner, correct? You had the schooling, the training, and was able to apply what you learned into for us in this small community.
Well, it was an advertised position. It was, I think, 27 initial applicants. They didn't use a search committee, I don't believe.
No, we did not.
I'll just throw this out there. I have experience in dealing with one of these. We used them when I was in Dundee. And what they do is they take care of the advertising, they vet the candidates, they do all the background checks, they do quite a bit of the heavy lifting. Then they will bring back a sampling that you guys will see. If it's 12 or 10, you guys will be able to score them on whatever matrix you have, and then they'll whittle it down probably to 5. Usually then they'll come in and do individual interviews with each commissioner, like on a Saturday. And they'll rotate through the offices here at City Hall. You guys will meet again and vote to who you think is for the top candidates, and then you may have a secondary interview at that point. There's 2 or 3 people out there. So, that's what they do. I know that currently Fort Meade is looking for a city manager, and their process, in the interest of saving money, is to deal with the FCCMA. Well, that was one of the options. They had that option. They had another option of hiring an executive search committee, and they had an option of just throwing that in the paper, I guess, or whatever. And then they had this gentleman, I don't know who he is, but came forward that they knew, that said he would go out and find the city manager. He's not an official search person or whatever. But I know that when the FCCMA, which would be similar to the ICMA, process was brought to their attention, it was said that the staff would do all the work, all the collecting of the resumes, all the background checks, our staff, city staff. And that's why they elected not to use the FCCMA, because there was not a, it was just basically going to be, even though it was free, it's one of those you get what you pay for things, and the staff was going to end up doing all the work.
And we don't really put that on staff.
No, this was
they're
just
currently
for-
working for a
This is just
119.
for advising,
Yeah.
and then we hire the firm.
Well, and then, there's also like, there's a group called the range riders out there, which is retired city managers and finance directors and so on. That come in and they'll work for you for a couple of months if you don't have somebody on deck that can fill the position. And just to be totally transparent, I have stated to, probably the mayor, probably Drew, definitely Janie, and many other staff members that are here, that I'll be available for her if you choose to put her in the interim position. Or she can pick up the phone and call me 3 or 4 times a day. I think she does it now anyway, but she can.
She's learning though. We laugh, but she's learning.
Oh yeah, no, she's very capable.
And Rick, may I add your comment there for a second, because I think the key component there is availability. You know, usually those types of assistance needs or whatever a manager is involved in leads under different circumstances. Whenever you need to have a manager. Here, you know, we've got 60 days of notice before Rick's leaving. So I mean, I think that the search can be conducted as soon as.
Well, we started out with 100 days when we formed you. We're down to 2 months and 18 days at this point.
That's how I'm going.
I mean, it's getting to the point where you're going to have to probably make a decision pretty soon in what direction you're going to go, because
Is
we're
it,
going to run out of time for any firm, if you choose to use a firm, to actually do a thorough investigation.
is it kosher to give the commission these guys' names? so that they
Absolutely.
can-
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Can you do that, man?
Sure. So the 2 entities that we normally would recommend are SGR. That's a Texas-based firm. They have a local gentleman that works with them called Doug Thomas, who lives in Lakeland. Then there's also a firm that's based out of the Daytona area, Colin Benzinger and Associates, who we also also recommend that we use as well. Colin has done a number, if not the majority, of searches in Florida for a number of years, and is an excellent recruiter. SGR is a new player in that area, but has done some wonderful work. They have a very thorough recruitment process. I think as the mayor mentioned, that's the candidate, but usually Doug's process is a little longer.
It is,
And
like 4 months.
it can be lengthy.
6 months.
Or longer.
But, you know, both of those will get you a pool of good candidates. And what I would recommend is that you at least have one of those recruiters come in and present to you what their options may be, or what that process might look like.
I think if we're gonna have one, we ought to leave the Benzinger guy.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
if I may, so we've heard from you, we've heard a lot from Commissioner McDonald and myself. Can we also hear from Commissioners Barsadi, Smith, and Erickman on their opinion publicly in this public meeting?
Well, I was just sitting listening because I can remember when we were searching for city manager 12 years ago. And, I remember going through all this regular rule that I did tonight, but at the same time, I do think we have somebody already that's available and that she's been working on with him. I don't know how long, 100 years, but, I wouldn't want it to be a rush job by no means, and 2 months, 3 months, we need to do something. But, the reason I say that, I don't wanna get into the situation that Fort Meade's in, maybe I shouldn't say that, but,
Sure.
they just had a double soaking.
Well, both of these guys, assured Janie and I both, when we met with them, that, you know, after we had seen what they had to offer, if we wanted to do what they call a direct hire, if we see somebody out there, we just wanna hire you, for example, you know, we'll let Colin Smith be our manager. Then we just pay them for their time and then they would be out of here.
Coach, are you speaking of Janie like I'm speaking of Janie?
Yes.
Okay, I'm hearing in my left ear Commissioner McDonald say, Can you please explain why you're saying,
Well, I think we should go through a firm and she's able to apply, and then that way we know, and our residents know that she wasn't just handed the job, she was vetted through it, and that she is qualified and is affirmed by the firm, and then we also have other options to look at. That's just due diligence.
Okay. I can do a take here. One, can we not, satisfy the idea of going public with it without going through a headhunter? That would be my first thing. Two, because this is a situation where we have a very, different type of town with a very set situation here. It's gonna take somebody who knows the town, who knows the problems that it has, who knows what is projected into the future. Well, we do have that person here, and we have backup for her. So if we satisfy the idea of, okay, we're gonna open it up to the public, couple of newspaper ads or whatever, those applications are very easy to go through and find out who stands a chance, who doesn't. There's nothing wrong with looking at both sides of the coin. On the other hand, we do have, again, we have an in-house person who can do the job. But we can also do it as like a trial period. There's nothing that says you gotta hire them right away and put them in. There's a trial period where she can prove her worth.
I mean, she's acting as intern deputy.
Well,
city
there's always,
manager now.
there's even with Rick, there was a 90-day probationary period, was there not?
No, it was longer, it was like,
Maybe 6 months.
it was a long time.
Well, I think we overextended and then finally somebody says, we're past his probationary period.
6 months is too long in my
Make it
mind.
official, and hire the man.
So at this point, just so you know, just looking at the timeline, I think probably, even if you went with a search committee, Jane would probably be your interim city manager for maybe a month or two anyway, so you'd have an opportunity to see her in action, as I have, so.
Commissioner Asman, everyone's giving our opinion except you.
I'm just mad at it. I'd rather you rate us kneecaps if you win. Yeah, I think we should probably hire a firm to do the search and have Jamie be interim until the time that all the applicants are put forward, which were the best ones, and go from there.
And she can still apply, and she'll
Oh, I
be
meant-
way more proper,
sure.
she makes it
I
through the
meant with her
process.
in there, yeah.
What's that, Rosa?
I meant with her if she wants
In the mix.
to be an applicant, you know. Actually, have we asked her if she can,
She has to.
Well, I don't,
Yes.
it's probably not really
Hey.
proper to really ask her at this point, because
Yeah.
it's just not, I mean, you know, you can get around, but I would just hate to put her on the spot, whenever you guys decide which direction you wanna go. I'm just throwing that out as a caution. I don't know how the group feels about that, but I just didn't wanna put her on the spot.
I believe that's fair too.
And I think it's okay to go out after we leave here, today, tomorrow, next day, to ask citizens what their opinion is. I don't think it's really kosher to ask employees what their
I
opinion
would
is.
not do that.
But I do think it's kosher to ask citizens what their opinion
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to cross the manager commission line on that.
And I don't really think it's fair to, even though he's willing to help Mr. Johnson, we don't know what can happen somebody's time, and then we don't have him, you know, guiding her,
If someone commits to me, I'm assuming they're committing to me.
but you don't know anything can happen in life.
Yeah, people get divorced every day. People don't take commitment seriously.
And I don't know.
So how you wanna proceed? You wanna just put this off another meeting? You wanna go out and talk to citizens? You wanna make a decision tonight? What's your pleasure?
I'd like to
I don't
move
wanna rush.
forward with the plan.
I would prefer that we have the citizens in Mulberry. Probably they know each other. It just seems like a rush situation, and I know city manager gave us his timeline, so we gotta do something within that timeline. But,
Well, I'm also bearing in mind, just something to take into consideration, if it's someone that was coming from another city, they'd probably be required to give some notice wherever they're coming from, so if you guys make a decision, you know, a month after I'm gone or whatever, that person might have to give 90 days, like I was required to give 90 days per my contract,
Right.
so you know, you might be looking at a 6-month process, even if you started today, hiring somebody today, you might still be 6 months out with the quicker of the two firms. And I've dealt with that firm, Powell Densmore, and they're very, I don't think there's any concern about them cutting any corners. I think SGR just happens to add a few extra steps in their process. Remains to be seen whether that's, makes a difference, but.
You know, Rick, one of the key reasons why I think both your manager and your attorney are recommending that a firm might be used, they can build consensus. You know, if you're sitting up here, commissioners, and you're feeling like that there's so many options and we're not coming together on something, that an executive search firm can build that consensus for you on what to put out there in your advertisement, how to attract the best candidate, what's the best way to interview that candidate, and how do we put the right people in front of you. And, you know, the good news is that the firms that I introduced you to, Mayor, both of them have a guarantee. So if, for example, you were to hire somebody and it just didn't work, right? Then they would come back and redo the process for you with no charge. So these are definitely those types of professional services that are individual and unique. The procurement process on this one is if you like the guy pretty much, right? I think that you should bring him in for an interview. That's what I would do.
I was gonna say, how about if we do this, commissioners, and that is, have a work session just for that purpose, and have this gentleman, Colin, how do you say it?
Benziger, yeah.
Come in and talk to all of us at one time. We won't be able to vote. We won't be able to vote because it's a work session. But it'll be an open meeting that anybody can come to and sit and listen to that gentleman speak to the commission.
That sounds reasonable, and since, as you said, with the timeline, it's most probable that you'll be in the interim position anyway, we have time to work.
Right.
And then we can also sort of cut down and see what's happening.
Well, let me,
Well, these executive search committees, they check the media, they check their social media, they check
everything.
strict background checks, something that you couldn't burden your staff with as well, so that's what they do. That's what they do all day long, every day, so we just wanna let you know that they'll uncover, they'll turn over every stone and find all the little dirt and stuff in their background if there is such a thing. They do credit checks, they do all kinds of things on it, so.
So can I instruct our lawyer to set that up?
I'm happy to take that instruction, Mayor, if that's the consensus of the commission.
I agree with you. Are you going?
I think everybody's in agreement pretty much.
When would you like to have a work session? Maybe before a regular meeting?
Either before, definitely before the next meeting, because that's a couple weeks out.
Yeah,
I would prefer it not to be before the next meeting said first, Tuesday in December, but prior to the first Tuesday in December.
Okay.
So I don't wanna be put into we got a meeting we got to go to.
Tight time frame with Thanksgiving next week.
Yeah, it is.
So I will do my best to try to set something up. And, you know, I understand what you're saying. That might be the best though, would be to have a work session on the 2nd. I will email Mr. Benziger tonight, and I'll know the answer tomorrow.
See when he get back.
And if it's okay, if the consensus of the commission is to work with the mayor to set something up, and then the mayor can call a special meeting, we'll do that. Does that sound, Mayor, does that sound acceptable to the commission members?
That's fine with me.
Okay.
Who knows, he might change his mind by that time.
Great. Good Thanksgiving for you all.
So we got a plan? Alright, we got a Sergeant, would you bring me the sign-in sheet, please? Oh, Miss Julie wants to speak?
No, she said.
It's talking about the same thing now, but I'll wait my turn.
Well, it's coming right now. Come on down, Miss Julie. Yep. So now, but you know now, when you sign on this sheet, you're limited to 5 minutes.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
We don't keep with the time on Miss Taylor.
No.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
To, Mayor, to all the commissioners, acting city clerk, city manager, city attorney. Tonight is a hard thing for me to do tonight, to speak, which I'm normally not. But tonight I'm coming for myself and for the citizens of Mulberry and concerned citizens on this. Concerned citizens, come on. Your concerned citizens, come behind me, please. Come on behind me, concerned citizens. Court, when you can read that, so you can just hold my hand and say, sit down.
Okay.
Commissioner, come on up. It's all right, you know you come on up here. Now, on behalf of the citizens of Mulberry, on behalf of the concerned citizens, on behalf of me, Mr. Jones, please, know, and I was taking the type of class, they said all good things from me, the type of saying all good things must come to an end, but we do not want this to come to an end. You have worked so hard. The saying is out there, Mr. Johnson, that the world don't just out there, don't leave us now. You're the best city manager that we had. Not that I'm saying that others were, but you have done so much for our city. Mulberry was almost a doomed city, almost a dying city.
We worked it.
Yeah.
And you brought us back to life. You have accomplished so much. I grew up here. I know the inside. I know the outside of our city. I don't know what the timeline is. I don't know. I don't know the protocol of the timeline of things. Please consider.
Consider maybe another year, maybe just one more year. Consider something like that. We need that, Mr. Manager.
Ms. Denise, what you have to say?
I do wanna say that being new to Florida, being new, I love Mulberry. It's just something about the city. But I remember you coming to Anglers Green, and I came to like one of their first meetings, and you came and you represented. And from there, I knew that I was in a good city because you were informing us as to what was going on, and that's really important. It's like, you know, a lot of people don't come here, but you came to the people, and that's just really important.
Ms. Nelson?
Mr. Johnson, we just want you to know that we really need you here in Mulberry. And without you, we wouldn't have been able to get the part from my father. And one thing about you haven't finished it, so you can't leave till you finish it. We're hoping that you would reconsider Mulberry as your home, as your job. Because we really need someone to step out like you've done these past few years to make a difference. You have made a difference here in Mulberry. And we really appreciate everything that you have done.
Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
Johnson, keep me on the go.
On behalf of the Mulberry concerned citizens, we definitely would like for you to stay. You've done so much since you've been here, and it doesn't seem like a job to you. You do it out of the goodness and kindness of your heart, and that is very much appreciated.
All right, I want to be the ladies first. Come on. Sergeant? All right.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'll speak briefly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speak another night, but I can tell you, for somebody that's in its sixth decade here in the city, my family, some of my oldest friends have been in your position, and y'all are the two best that we've ever had. And you make a heck of a team. And if there's any way we can make this happen, maybe for another year or so, with the transitions, especially Mr. Johnson, then I would be 100% in favor of that. Y'all are the two best we've ever had.
Commissioners, Mr. Johnson, please. Listen to you, please consider. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Julie. I feel the same way, and he knows that from me, because I've talked with him at length. But anyway, let's go to city commission comments.
I'll start.
Well, I'm gonna pull rank on you, and I'm gonna go first tonight. I don't have much, but I have a couple things. One is a sad note. It'll bring a tear to my eye. I can't even start. Dang. One of Mulberry High School's most beloved teachers passed away Sunday night. Miss Langford. She taught up there for over 40 years, I think. And it did not matter if she had a basic class or if she had an honors class or an AP class. She took those kids and moved them from point A to point B. So, one of the funniest things that she used to do, and I bet you Catherine can tell you, if she had a test in another class, not Miss Langford's class, but another class, that was difficult. She would buy her room in the morning, and what would she do, Catherine? She sprinkled you with
Fairy dust.
fairy dust.
Yeah.
She always had a pocket full of glitter, and she would sprinkle the kids with fairy dust. I call it pixie dust. And the kids thought that helped them do it. And maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I had a young lady one time moved here from Kansas or somewhere out in the Midwest. And she was like a junior in high school. Her name was Mickey. Her mom had moved here because they were out of work where she was. And Mom had a sister that lived here that I knew very well. But Mickey, the student, she was so mad because she left all of her buddies wherever she came from. And even when she came to my office that morning, it was like she was just mad at the world. And I said, well, I know who I'm going to put you with. I put her with Miss Langford. And Miss Langford turned her around. Of course, 2 years later, she graduated, did great. Her mama was happy, and so I called them the other night to tell them, that family, about Ms. Langford, and they were very thankful. They live out of state now. But that's just one story of many that she turned around. She also, the reason I got hooked on Harry Potter books, she had an English honors, what's called English honors alpha class, which is a step above English honors 1, 9th grade. And she came to me and says, George, I want you to buy me a classroom set of these Harry Potter books. And the first one, Sorcerer's Stone. And I said, okay. So anything she wanted, I'd give her. If it was within my possibility or realm to give. And the books came in, they were all paperback, which was fine. And first thing out of the box, she says, here, you need to read this. And I said, why? Because I'm not a big reader. But she says, because it talks about wizardry and stuff like that, and if there's any parent complaints, you need to know what you're talking about when you talk to this parent. And of course, I knew, knowing Kathy, that I would not get any parent complaints, and I did not. But the thing about it got George hooked on Harry Potter books, and I read all of them as they came out, anxiously awaiting the next one. But and that may have been her secret desire, was to get me to start reading again. But you know, again, with my math background, I wasn't a big reader. But anyway, but Mulberry High School was a better place because of teachers like her. And we had many, not just her, we had many. And I still think they still do up there. They just have good teachers. And that opens another ball of wax for me when people on Facebook say Mulberry schools are terrible. They're not. Mulberry High School is one of the best schools around. So, enough said about that. I go, change the subject, switch hats. Clark Freed already told you that the chamber breakfast is in the morning. Be there for that. Thursday, I will be at Mulberry Middle School for a Great American Teach-In. I don't know how many classes they're gonna put me in, but the lady that sort of runs that, Ms. Lero, she asked me if I wanted to be in one of my granddaughter's classes, and I said, sure. So she's gonna at least put me in one class that my granddaughter Cassie is in. Anyway, so that's what that is. I look forward to the chamber clay shoot in April. Pun intended, it's a real blast. So, you can go now, Ms. Barside.
Well, actually, I had intended, I'm not saying anything tonight, because I really didn't have anything, except to thank the Citizens Academy. Let you know, feedback from anglers, they appreciated it, we did learn something. And I think you'll have a few more people next time out. Miss Taylor, I don't cry easily. And that's one of the things, you know, my family knows about me. You got me crying, and you're absolutely right. You and all the citizens, the concerned citizens are absolutely right. And then, of course, then the mayor talks, and I'm almost bawling over here, okay? That would just really shatter my image. You mentioned fairy dust, and that's a soft spot. I had a friend who was battling cancer, and that's what she would do. I don't know how many times we would come into the shop in the morning and we would see glitter. Of course, when I'm sweeping up, it's going all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
2 years down the road, when we're closing down the shop, I'm sweeping up glitter.
Oh, that's cool.
But every time I see it, I have to think of her, and one of the things I've written for her before was that, it's the stars glittering for her now, just like it is for your Mrs. Lincoln. That's all right.
Cool, good. Don, go ahead.
I just want to thank Miss Julie and the concerned citizens for the phone calls and the flowers during the time, helping us through my mother-in-law passing away. She was in Mulberry her entire life, and she always told everybody, whatever doctor's appointment we went to, where you're from, she was so proud of them to tell them that she was from Mulberry, and she always let every nurse know that Papa was her man. So she always had a good spirit, even to the end. So I appreciate your support, Ms. Julie, and your team. And we shared a lot tonight about property tax, and I just wanted to remind you, there's a lot of, because I checked the whole PA, there's a lot of citizens in our community that have not filed for all your exemptions. If you're over 65, if you've been in your home for over 25 years, which a lot of Mulberry residents have, you can file for additional exemptions. So don't forget to check on that to see if you can get some more discounts on that. I just have one more question about the water co-op. Can we get a rate study? Can we have something that gives us a better view of our future? Even if we think about our comprehensive plan, if somebody was to look at it 30 years, have we planned enough in the future for them? I'm just really concerned about not having that and I don't think it's just something we can take an opinion on. I just really think we need a rate study or something.
I think the key on that is going to be after December 31st. That's what my take is from reading their information and the contracts and the new stuff that's coming out right now. I think after December 31st, we'll know better where we're standing.
Well, we'll know late after.
No, we'll know exactly where we're standing,
We'll
because
know.
right now it's not gonna happen.
We'll know where we're getting capped off because we did not join the water co-op. We've now missed out on
We're
scholarships.
cast out anyway, we're an associate, if we
Right.
join
Hey,
now, we
they-
have to go back.
Mayor, just want to say, we are a member of the cooperative, and we are a participant in the combined projects implementation agreement. We're an associate to the Southeast Wellfield, an associate to the West Polk Wellfield, two major projects. The cooperative is pursuing the Alpine River project, which if that turns into a source, would be almost right by our backyard. And so that could be a potential alternative water source that Mulberry may want to participate in the future. In fact, I had a phone call just yesterday with the water cooperative's attorney about that project, and he mentioned that they're set for an administrative trial on that permitting issue later, in late first quarter of 26. So I agree with Commissioner Barsadi that it is a wait and see kind of moment, but I just want to make sure that the information is correct. We are a member and eligible participant. Yeah, that's it. That's all. Thank you.
Your question, can we get a rate study done? I don't believe so. We did hire a firm about 2 years ago. It also works for Southmont and Water Cooperative. And we hired them specifically to determine the effect of becoming participating members in the water cooperative project. And they were made aware that's our main thing, was we've had other rate studies done, we have rate studies done every few years. So we did hire what everyone would say is the best in the business to do the work for us. About 4 or 5 months later, they came back with some preliminary stuff, but there was nothing in there about the Polk Water Cooperative. I asked them why it wasn't in there, and they said, oh, that's what you want? You want to know about that? Yes, we do. We'll have something to you in 2 or 3 months. And they went away, and we began calling them at about the 4-month mark. They showed back up again with more information, with nothing to do with the Polk Water Cooperative. They kept telling us, well, your meters are this age and everything. Well, we know how old our meters are. We put them in the ground. We know exactly how old they are. And this is the age of your infrastructure at your water plant. Yes, we know, because we're the ones that built it. We know exactly when it went online. We didn't need to pay them to give us that information. That's usually part of a traditional rate study, but what we were after and what they were tasked with was telling us what becoming a participating member was going to do, how it was going to affect our rates. 2 years later, they still have not given us any information. We have contacted them, our attorney has reached out to them. If you have a better idea, you let me know.
Well, everybody else got theirs, I just don't know why Mulberry didn't get theirs.
Well, probably because they didn't want us to have, I'm gonna surmise, there was certain information that, because they knew that we were only an associate member, they got their marching orders somewhere else, I don't know, but they certainly didn't produce anything. But they were hired, they were under contract, they did not produce the information we asked them for, which was how much is this gonna affect the water rates in the city of Mulberry? They chose not to answer that question. We had probably 3 or 4 meetings with them. Every meeting, they pretended like they didn't know anything about it. But we'll get some information back to you, and they never got it to us. So I don't know what to tell you.
And this all happened prior to April 2025, right?
Yes.
They were hired probably in, I think, was it August of 24, 23?
23, I think.
It's 24. I'll show it back.
Well, they still haven't, the whole thing was supposed to take 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, less than a year. It's been over 2.
So we still don't have the information we asked for. So when you ask if we could have a rate study done,
We tried.
we can't have one done that will produce any information about the effect of participating in this $1 billion thing down there.
$1 million.
What information that will have, what that will do to our water rates. We can have the Florida Rural Water Association do a rate study for us, which we've had or they will not address anything to do with the water cooperative. But it's free. But, these other companies that are not free, we were paying bills if we hit certain benchmarks, so 2 months you gotta pay us this, 4 months we continue to accumulate bills, which we pay faithfully, but it's at the point where we stop paying when we stop hitting the benchmarks. So that's the sad reality of what happened.
Moving on, Neil, you're up.
Well, I'll ask if I can just, from this point forward, make my commission comments last, please. You know, I like to talk a lot, you know, just put me last.
You've already talked, plenty.
Mr. Harrison?
I said,
Mr. Smith, what you got?
I just have a couple of things. I apologize to Dawn. I really didn't know you lost your mother-in-law. And my daughter's for kudos to you. And I want to thank the city tonight. They haven't buried her yet, but my sister passed last week. And they got a beautiful bouquet of flowers. And I just want to thank the city for that, acknowledging that. And I know Jack has told everybody that comes in there and listens to the situation. But that's all I have.
Okay. I thought we were no longer sticking in the water cooperative. It seems to keep bringing its early, ugly head to this meeting. We made this decision prior to April 2025. And as the manager just stated, we requested and it's not been delivered. So I'm going to start quoting the municipal code. Powers and duties of a city commissioner defined. The city commission shall have the power to pass such ordinances, resolutions, motions, and take such other actions as may be necessary in the exercise of the powers conferred on it by this charter, the Constitution, and the general laws of the state of Florida. Went and seen Jaws, was it Friday? Programmed to just bring $5, and they were collecting cans. So I still tried to give $5, just said no, so hey, it is what it is, I'll square it up later. December is a very busy month. Always looking forward to the month of December. I shouldn't say disappointed, because that would be the wrong word to use. When the city manager provided us his, I don't want to say resignation letter, I'm going to say retirement letter at the CRA meeting last month. I knew it was coming. I was not looking forward to it, but he's served this city and community well. He reinvested his bonus into nonprofits in the community. Several people have said, hey, tell him thank you. He invested part of that to the soy program, Miss Taylor. He invested some of that to the Kids Pack. Someone from the Kids Pack reached out to me and said, tell him thank you. So on behalf of them, city manager, thank you for reinvesting your bonus into the nonprofits that your heart is close to. That's pretty much it. All for you, sir.
Thank you. So anyway, Coach, condolences on the loss of your sister.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm not leaving here to take another job. So I don't want anybody to think that this is money related, that this is a better offer somewhere. I've had quite a few offers over the years because of the magic that this city has been able to put together with these hard-working staff. I've had offers, and I never entertained any of them. They've added extra pay every time I get an offer. How about if we throw another $10,000 in there for you? I've never wanted to go, because my heart is here. So I'm not, I just want to make sure everybody knows there's nothing to do with it. Couple of updates. We were approved for that giant grant, not the entire thing. I have some information on it here. We requested $40.4 million for the wastewater improvements behind the wastewater plant where the Alfire River floods and almost floats away our wastewater electrical house. And could be a major environmental issue if that suddenly quit working. We did not get the 40.4, but we got 19.1 million, which we can do that project for because that project actually had several phases to it. One was a road that goes from the back of the wastewater plant out to 37. Because when we do the sludge removal, and sludge is basically dried and kinked poop after it's been processed. And so we have a company that comes in and hauls that away. We have a dewatering plant that makes that a dry form, so it's a lot lighter, it's a lot cheaper. Our utility director, John Wright, came up with that plan a number of years ago. But they cannot pull into our wastewater plant to get that stuff. They have to park out on the road and have this giant, like, half pipe thing, suck it out of there while they're parked on the street. It's not an ideal situation, but part of this grant was to actually put a connecting road so they could pull their big giant sludge truck in and drive around behind and out to 37 because they can't back the sludge truck out for whatever reason. So that part of the project is probably going to go by the wayside, but the main part of the project for the wastewater plant is to protect the wastewater plant and redirect some of that stormwater flow and that flooding from the Alfire River. And that's the most important part. And I've been assured by our engineers that we should be able to do it for that 19.1 million. We also, at the same time, simultaneous to that, we did apply for $13.1 million for our North Water plant improvements. That's a new operational building, because if you've ever been in there, it's not much, it's a little bit like a little closet. New bronze storage tank, you know what those are, those big things that keep the water in. We have one that's there, it's older, it works, obviously. Paved driveway in and out of there, a new gate, and a new chemical feed system. That $13.1 million, we got the entire thing. So we got, I believe, $32.2 million, I believe, if I'm adding this up. And that's the largest grant I think the city's ever gotten, so that's 100%. That's really good news, but we don't really want to, we're afraid if we talk about it too much. This is kind of what I was told. You can talk about the meeting, but don't let anybody know.
See more on there.
So, because, you know, other cities might suddenly say, hey, we didn't apply for that. We didn't know anything about it. Can we have some? And then they might end up snatching a little bit of this money away from us. It does happen, yeah. But the other small cities around got big chunks of money as well. This has been I think $1.6 billion thing from the governor to do all this work. So anyway, it's really going to be a big deal. So anyway, we're about 90% or more sure that we're going to get it. We've been approved, so we got it. We've been awarded that. Now, whether or not they try to suck something out of us. But that's really good news. I know Neil mentioned going to the movies and collecting food there. That was Chelsea and her crew, their idea. They didn't even, this is a testament to how good our people are here. They didn't tell me about that. I didn't see that until it was taking place. But that's that heart and philosophy and mentality that those directors have. To collect in the middle of those SNAP benefits being postponed, canceled, whatever, people having food instability, they chose to collect not perishable food items to go to the food. I thought that was really nice thing. You now probably have noticed that there's a lot of dirt being turned out at the municipal complex site. I had to get a little tough on our, well, I was tough, I don't know. But anyway, I had to be smart. I had to talk to our contractor and ask him who this no person was out in Tampa that kept telling us we couldn't build because of these tortoises, and they weren't putting the permit in on time and whatever. And so I guess it's just a consultant or somebody that they hired. But anyway, so when I started really doing a lot of wholesale and planning, all of a sudden they could put a little fence around where the tortoise hole was, which I don't know why they could have done that 3 or 4 months ago, and they could have done further along, but anyway, it's done. So they have now, there's a silk fence out there that's buried deep into the ground because they have a tendency to tunnel under it. But it's protected to one active nest that's out there, and so there is dirt flying around. Anybody, I think a few people, I sent you some pictures, or at least let you know that the bomb shelter had been uncovered and it was actually up out of the ground, sitting on the, sitting out there. It needs to be there.
It was there Sunday, it's gone now.
But anyway, they didn't know if they were just gonna fill it in, crush it, whatever. They ended up being able to pull it out into what was holding it. It's kind of like a big tank from trains.
I got a picture from Rome Steel.
So anyway, that's, the things are moving out there finally. So we're meeting with the museum people that are designing our big world class museum that's gonna go in out there. We're working on that. That's gonna be something to see. A lot of elements of that, the tying in everything from Mulberry from back when it was fossilized to became fossilized, all the way through the original inhabitants of Florida and how they used to fish here and all that. And that's why we're seeing a lot of, there's a lot of artifacts, that are uncovered, whatever. All the way up through like mosaics, time mining the phosphate, what the phosphate does. It's kind of tying all that together. It doesn't sound like it really goes together, but there'll be a history component in there of the city as well, the mining towns, and company towns and all that. So it's going to be very interesting what they put together. Met with the gentleman running managing the depot today, discussed a few issues over there. They're going to try to get trivia in there starting soon, Thursdays. There has been an uptick with the bingo. They've seen about, I think, about a 20% increase in Tuesday's revenues just for bingo, so we're trying to do what we can. One of the things I'm going to hand out to you guys, you know, I have a $25,000 game limit, as you know, so this is a little bit more just like a formality. The signs that we're going to put pointing to the depot, one's going to go on 60, one's going to go on 37, kind of out near the new laundromat building that's there. And so it's not a sole provider thing like some things are, but it's tough to find companies that will make the kind of sign that we want to get. So we did just call, you know, you can't put an ad in the paper because you're just going to get a local person. You can do a formal RFP, but it's time consuming, and you have an issue where you need to get the knowledge out there right away to make that place really thrive. Because people don't know it's there. They drive by, they hear it's there, but they see this laundromat under construction, and they think that's Depot 303, that's not open. So we were able to get a couple of bids. One of them was Southern Graphics, actually. Dixie Signs was another one that's relatively local. We have calls out to many other sign companies. They're just not, I don't know if it's a rush on the signs, but they're just not, sort of call calls, emails, or anything. We're working on these for about 2 months, trying to get quotes from you guys. So you have 2 quotes in front of you. One is Southern Graphics, one is Dixie Signs. The Southern Graphics one, right now, we've only asked them to do the one on 37, which is going to be powered by a solar panel, because it's not a light that necessarily has to stay on all the time. It's one of those flashing arrow lights like the old 1950s diners. It's going to point you to Depot 303. We have a place identified to put it in, but we don't have any way of getting electricity to the site. So it's going to have to be solar, which is not a big deal. And then the other one's going to go behind the gym theater, so we can just run power to that one. But we're starting with just doing one of the signs to start with and see how it turns out, how it works. So the Southern Graphics one is a quote for only the one sign, which is $33,000. And that same sign from Dixie Signs was $52,000. So it's about almost a $20,000 difference. I know that Neil will agree. We'd like to see something go local more. Of course, we have a great relationship with Southern Graphics as well. They do a lot of our signs, printing, all kinds of great stuff for us. So, staff, whatever, I would recommend that we use Southern Graphics to do this sign. It's a big metal thing. I think the top, going across the top of it is almost 12 feet across. That's why it's so expensive.
Need a motion?
Yep.
Okay, I'll entertain it.
Second.
Well, before you make that motion, folks, your purchasing code does have some requirements whenever you go over $25,000 for purchasing. The law says that except as otherwise provided, all expenditures of any kind in excess of $25,000 shall be made by the city commission by competitive bidding, which does require the RFP that the manager was mentioning. There is an exception to the bidding requirement. The only one that could possibly be applicable in this instance would be the sole source acquisition. And let me read that to you. It says sole source acquisitions and brand name specifications shall only be made within the purchasing agent's purchasing authority or otherwise by the commission. And after a good faith review of available sources, city needs for consistency and standardization, received advice from engineers or other professionals when reasonably appropriate, it's determined there is only one identifiable source for the required commodity, or only one brand name suitable for the city's needs. So I would suggest that if you're going to move forward in this instance, that you make the requisite finding necessary to move to purchase that item. Probably comply with your code.
Would we not do that? I don't know, we got 2 bids.
So the law says that when you're purchasing in this instance, you have to comply with what your ordinances say. Let me scroll down on that. If you were to do this normally, a formal competitive sealed bidding procedure, right? That requires notice, publication, bid submissions, bid security, bid opening, etc. Those kinds of things. That's right. Anything that's in excess of $25,000, you have to go through that. And so, in that instance, what you'll need to do is find some kind of an exception to exist in order to move forward. And so that the only one that appears to exist or appears to be possibly applicable would be the sole source acquisition. I think what your manager.
There's 2 sources.
Well,
that's all he got.
Well, it was Dixie Signs through the whole thing, and at the last minute we reached out to Southern Graphics to see if they could do it.
Right.
Give us a quote at the last minute, but I was actually coming to you with Dixie Signs. They're the only respondents to any of our. I can show you all the emails and phone calls and all that. So I look at this as a sole source provider because this is a large sign.
There's not too many sign companies out there.
Not this kind of sign. I mean, they'll make banners and election signs and stuff, but this is a thing that's it's difficult to really get somebody to do because we're in that little weird place between like a large project like putting in a Tampa Bay Buccaneers sign somewhere that might cost $500,000 and election signs. We're kind of in that weird gray area. That's why I think they're just not responding to us.
Theoretically, you do have an exception in your list for commodities and contractual services for advertising, but that's not what, I don't think the code means what we're intending here. Then that code means if I'm going to publish in the ledger, something to that effect. But I've always understood the single source or sole source exemption to purchasing to mean that the project is only available from one. It also stated something like this: there's many different products, but only one will do. Right?
So we've got our exception then, do we not?
I think you just need to make sure that that finding is present in your motion, Commissioner.
Okay, so, I'll amend the motion to state what professional staff our attorney has read into the minutes.
That's one way to get around it.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Devine, seconded by Commissioner McDonald. I can't tell, y'all, I have no difference in y'all's voice down there, so that's why I'm having issues.
I'll put a growl on mine.
There you go. Anybody in the audience wish to speak to this? Anybody up here wish to speak to that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
They're both, well, Southern Graphics, about an 8-week turnaround. I believe Dixie Signs is like 12 weeks.
That's it right there, Rick. That's the.
Okay, there we
that's
go.
number one.
We got another faster.
That's the,
Yeah, I should mention.
But you're gonna need 2 of these?
Eventually,
Okay.
we'll want a second one.
Yeah, second one. Well, I want to see how this comes out.
If we like the first one, we'll order another one.
The most important one, and consulting with Buckley too, he agrees, is putting on 37 because of the fact that it's behind it.
And people coming from Lakeland.
And 60, that'll generate some traffic as well, but we have a place that we're paying for everywhere as well.
Are you talking about him? Let me jump in one second.
Sure.
I've also asked our city manager to ask Mr. Buckley to come give us a report on the depot, like once a quarter or something, like he does Catherine with the studio and other directors. I mean, I know it's not the same, we don't need every month like we do like to have them, but it would be nice to have a report once in a while on how that is progressing.
I will say that, there's a online site, restaurant reviews, and the name is really starting to pick up that, and the responses to it are very positive.
Yeah, and the 7th place is coming in, which is the tournament around, I think I mentioned to you about the crepe place that lays out the crepes and all the stuff, and kind of like a cake and all that. But I think they're gonna do other stuff, but I did meet with her, the lady that owns that, one day last week. And she was just wheeling stuff in, so she's hoping to be open for the Christmas tree lighting, because her stuff is not quite as involved as the other ones.
Awesome.
But if nothing else, she'll have signs out there and probably give out samples or something, just announcing for all the people, because we're assuming, just like we did last year, all those folks that were there for the tree lighting and went in for a sneak peek and got some free samples, we're hoping that, something like that will take place at the depot, or at least some folks will be introduced to what it looks like that maybe aren't getting down there now, so. I think that might be it. That's it, thanks.
I will say I've also seen a lot of city crews working down there in that Badcock Commons area, wrapping decorations around the light posts and getting that stage finished up. And I will tell you, also, it came out on my texting from the Gym Theater that the Elvis impersonator's coming back. If you like him and wanna go see him, make sure you get your tickets, cause it'll sell out, I promise you.
I can attest to that. When I heard that, until actually that this was going on, it was Gospel Christmas and Elvis, my gosh, that's my mom all over. I went in to book tickets, and I wanted the front row seat, she uses a walker. And, I had to mop off a little, no, they were there, but they had just opened up booking, and I mopped off because I had to get a number. went back to get them and they were gone. So I ended up a couple rows back. But just as an aside, a few years ago, my mom had a brain aneurysm. And she was in basically a coma where they were trying to figure out everything. So we're all there and she's unconscious. I said, well, heck, Elvis should be playing. Well, my niece, and when she pops up that pop, she puts in Unchained Melody, her favorite song, and a few seconds later, the foot started moving. Okay? Now, she had not woken up in 2 days, but you ask anyone, but the foot started moving. And she pops in Jailhouse Rock, the next one, and her hand was going, and she wakes up and she talks. At that time, we really needed that because we were basically saying goodbye.
That's a great story.
She's 93 now. Okay, so she's gonna go on the 20th and see all this. She doesn't know it yet.
I don't think that's sold out yet, but,
Not yet.
it will sell out.
Have you seen him over there yet? Did you-
I have not.
You'll enjoy him.
I was hoping it was gonna be a table, because I was gonna get all her nieces, their granddaughters, and great grands there, but, seats. So they can buy their own tickets.
So we like Elvis from the 70s, so the World Cup flag,
She's
different.
gonna love it. It's gospel. And it's Christmas.
So, Attorney, what you got?
Only thing I can add to the record tonight, Mayor, is that I think I hold the distinction of being the person in this room that's worked with Rick the longest. And so certainly John and I have been working with Rick for 20 years or more. We'll miss him, and we don't want him to leave either. So I just want to make sure I added that into the group as well. So he's been one of the best folks we've worked with in my legal career here in the county. So yeah. Oh, certainly, yeah. You guys should have on your desks the Government and Sunshine Manual, as well as the Pocket Guide. The Government and Sunshine Manual is the definitive resource for anything you want to know about Sunshine Law. The
That's like
Pocket
a budget
Guide
that I'm not gonna read, that was brought last month.
is a wonderful book. I encourage you to read all of it. This guide right here will answer your everyday questions. So this one, read first. That one, we can always consult. And if you have any questions, please call me. I'll always have to talk about things. So that's it, Mayor. You need to start?
I have no. Oh, wait, no. The next Ridgely City Dinner is December 11th at 6 at the new Auburndale Civic Center. That's it.
Was the new Auburndale
The one we're not gonna hire.
Commissioners, anything before we vote? We stand adjourned. Thanks for coming.